The National Party has reopened the debate around genetic modification, launching their policy on harnessing biotech in Auckland over the weekend. Party leader Christopher Luxon says there's only economic upside to allowing more genetic engineering in New Zealand. The Waka Kai Ora, the National Māori Organics Authority, says genetic modification, or GMO, is a Tiriti or Waitangi issue, and spokesperson Dr. Jessica Hutchings no Ngaitahu, Ngati Huirapa and Kujurat is with us now. Tēnā koe, Dr. Hutchings, thank you so much for joining us.
Tēnā koe, kia ora Neil.
Now, you're not fully on board with this announcement. What do you see as problematic around the National Party's policy?
Well, we're not on board at all with this announcement, and we won't ever be on board with any announcement about opening up Aotearoa to GMOs. First and foremost, governments and political parties need to remember that in Aotearoa we have a treaty, and that decisions around GMOs actually are not for political parties to make outside of treaty partnerships. So that would be my first point. GMOs is something that have been long on the agenda for Te Ao Māori, woven into the Y262 claim, of which the Māori Organics Group joined in 2007 as a claimant. They're a complex issue. They're an interesting social and cultural issue and scientific issue, because they reach into every aspect of our lives, into economics, into the impact of tikanga and culture by science, even as far into the microbiome or the realms of Hiniahone. So one of the things we need to be really aware about GMOs is where vested interests lie. And they lie with corporations and with multinationals and with governments. They don't lie with Indigenous peoples or with Indigenous women. So we have a lot of issues with them.
What do you believe that someone like the National Party is making this kind of decision without considering Te Tiriti or Waitangi?
Well, I think that's business as usual for governments in Aotearoa, is to make decisions without treaty partners. But Māori went to the Royal Commission in 2000, the Royal Commission on Genetic Modification. We've had a very extensive debate in this country 23 years ago, and we need to look back into that history and pick up the views that our kaumātua shared at that time. So settler colonial erasure would be one reason, or one kind of way to describe the behaviour of the government. Indigeneity continues to be erased through science and technologies.
Dr. Hutchings, do you believe that Aotearoa, New Zealand, can be a global leader in ag tech without genetic modification?
Neil, I would question why New Zealand needs to be a global leader in ag tech or agribusiness. I know we're an exporting nation, but it's based on a long colonial history from the time of colonisation of feeding the motherland. We actually produce enough food in Aotearoa to feed 50 million people, but we export the majority of it overseas. We can't even feed the 5 million people that we have in our country. So I do not see how technologies like GMO, which claim to potentially feed the world, deliver technological solutions for climate change, are actually going to do anything to feed our people.
Okay.
What Te Waka Kai Ora argues for is powering down our use of fossil fuels and quick technological fixes in food and farming, and to make that return back to agroecological or organic or huaparakore approaches to food, where actually we can treat nature as the connected being that she is back in our cultural landscape. So we're very, our relationship with nature and food and farming chasms apart at the moment.
Now, you made a comment, or you've said, that GMOs are a form of biopiracy and a second wave of colonisation over life forms. What do you mean by this?
So, again, it comes back to vested interests. So genetic technologies are a technology which deliver profit. And so, first of all, colonisation came for our lands and our people. And this wave of colonisation is coming for the DNA or the genetic sequences of, as Te Waka Kai Ora, the Māori Organics Group would describe it, as ngā mokopuna o Ranginui Rawako Papatūānuku of flora and fauna. And so we believe that no corporation, no government has the right to own a patent over a life form, and that's what we mean by biopiracy.
Beautiful, nicely said. Dr. Jessica Hutchings, spokesperson for Te Waka Kai Ora, the National Māori Organics Authority. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your mahi ngā mihi.
Thank you.